talking about the idea of ascension and descension, right? To descend and to ascend is not necessarily locally, right?
Mhm.
And we're not necessarily just talking about the height or depth of a material location. Just to emphasize that one more time, what we're talking about is something more like ontology or being. Like Paul was saying, God is at the top. When we call him the Most High, that's what that language is meant to connote, right? And so for the same reason that in order to descend, Christ didn't jump into a hole that was dug to China, right? He didn't do that. He didn't jump in a hole to descend. Just like when he ascended, he didn't. You're not going to look out and find him in orbit somewhere.
Mhm.
That's not what we're talking about. And so just so we can avoid the extra amounts of confusion that kind of that dissonance can bring to somebody, because I've had this conversation more than once, and that's
Yeah.
kind of one of those stopping parts for people, is recognizing what we even mean by descending and ascending. I think it was most clearly stated when Paul was saying it's to God or away from God, into life, into death, right?
Mhm.
That kind of thing where we're talking about this hierarchy of being all the way to God at the supreme point and non-entity at the bottom, something like that,
Yeah.
right? And so
Yeah.
that's what we mean. That's what we mean is Christ did this grand U-shaped story of all reality, where he went from the highest height to the lowest place back to the highest height again. And what he did was bring all that was his up with him. That's what we mean by this. And what we mean by this is, again, not locationally, but in this sense of a hierarchy of being or ontology. This, let's say, the hierarchy of reality's value, something like that, where God is firmly at the top. That's what we mean.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's 2 points of clarification there too, just in case someone would say, well, that's not what that means. Think about it this way. I think pretty common thought, God is an omnipresent being. He's in all places. He can be present in all places, right? So if you're in all places, how do you move up or down? Where is up or down? It's
Right.
not just a spatially kind of thing, right? Well, I've talked to some people and just they don't realize that until you talk through it, and it's like, oh yeah, he's not really moving anywhere.
Mhm.
It's a different kind of, up and down, ascending, descending.